Black Ops 7 just launched last week, and if you jumped in and had no idea who Menendez is, why David Mason is back, or what the hell the guild even is, you're not alone. See, Call of Duty's Black Ops series has been telling one massive, interconnected story for over 15 years now. We're talking about CIA operations, brainwashing, time travel, family legacies, and a villain who literally refuses to stay dead. And there's also a completely separate zombies storyline that involves ancient artifacts, alternate dimensions, and the literal apocalypse. So today, I'm gonna explain the entire Black Ops timeline from 1961 all the way to 2035. I'm Joe, and let's break this down. So the Black Ops story starts in 1961 with a guy named Alex Mason, and from the jump, this man's life is chaos. Alex Mason is a CIA operative during the Cold War. He's sent to Cuba in 1961 for the Bay of Pigs invasion to assassinate Fidel Castro. Spoiler, it doesn't go well. Mason gets captured and ends up in a Soviet prison camp called Vorkuta, but here's where it gets wild. A Soviet scientist named Dragovich has Mason brainwashed. He's programmed with numbers. Literally just hearing certain numbers will trigger him to carry out an assassination, and the target, the President of the United States. Mason eventually escapes Vorkuta with the help of another prisoner named Viktor Reznov. The rest of Black Ops 1 follows Mason through Vietnam, the Soviet Union, and eventually reveals the twist. Reznov has been dead the whole time. He died during the prison escape. Mason's been hallucinating him because of the brainwashing. Mason eventually breaks the programming, stops the assassination plot, and kills Dragovich. But the damage is done. Mason's mind is permanently messed up from all the brainwashing. Oh, and there's a post-credits scene that heavily implies Mason might have been the one who killed JFK in 1963. Fast forward to 1981. The Cold War is still going strong, and there's a new threat. A Soviet spy named Perseus, who's been operating in the shadows since World War II. Russell Adler, a CIA handler who assembles a team to hunt down Perseus. And guess who's on that team? Alex Mason, now older and more experienced. He's joined by Frank Woods, Mason's best friend who's been with him since Vietnam. But the main character here is actually you, the player character, codenamed Bell. Bell is actually a Soviet agent that Adler captured and brainwashed. Adler literally implanted fake memories into Bell's head to make them think they're a CIA operative. The whole game is you hunting Perseus, while not knowing you were working for Perseus. The ending depends on your choice. You can either break the brainwashing and betray Adler, or you can side with the CIA and stop Perseus. Canon ending. You stop Perseus, but Adler executes you anyway because you know too much. Now we jump to 1991, right after the Gulf War. A shadowy organization called the Pantheon has infiltrated the CIA at the highest levels. They're basically pulling the strings behind global conflicts for profit. The protagonist here is a CIA agent named Case, and he's working with Adler, who's still around, and other operatives to take down the Pantheon. There's a lot of double crosses, sleeper agents, and conspiracies. Black Ops 6's story is still fresh, but the key thing to know, the Pantheon is a global shadow organization that's been operating for years. They're connected to past Black Ops events, and they're setting up future conflicts. And Alex Mason, he's retired at this point. His son, David Mason, is about to take center stage. Alright, now we need to talk about the most important villain in Black Ops history, Raul Menendez. Raul Menendez grew up in Nicaragua during the Contra War. He wasn't always a villain. He was just a kid trying to survive a war-torn country with his sister Josefina. But in 1986, everything changed. A CIA-backed operation led by Jason Hudson, yeah, CIA again, accidentally burns down a warehouse with Josefina inside. She survives, but she's horribly scarred and disfigured. Menendez blames the United States, specifically the CIA, for destroying his life. This is his villain origin story. Fast forward a bit. Frank Woods, Mason's best friend, remember him, is sent to capture Menendez. During a confrontation, Woods accidentally kills Josefina, and Menendez watches his sister, the only person he loved, die in front of him. But here's the kicker. Menendez planned it. He wanted Woods to kill her. Why? To frame him, to fuel his own rage, and to have the ultimate motivation for revenge. Menendez then captures Woods and Alex Mason. He forces Mason to choose. Shoot Menendez or shoot the person behind the door. Mason shoots the door and kills his own best friend, thinking it was Menendez, except it wasn't Woods. It was someone else. But the trauma breaks Mason, and Menendez, he shoots Mason in the head, putting him in a coma. Alex Mason, the protagonist of Black Ops 1, is effectively out of the picture. Now we jump to 2025. Menendez has spent decades building an empire. He's created a global terrorist organization called Cordis Die, Latin for Heart of the Day. He's turned himself into a digital messiah with billions of followers worldwide, and now he's back for revenge. The protagonist this time? David Mason, Alex Mason's son, codename Section. David is a Navy SEAL. and he's hunting Menendez to finish what his father started. The plot of Black Ops 2's future missions. Menendez is trying to hack the entire US military drone fleet and turn it against America. He wants to collapse the global economy, destroy the United States, and create chaos as revenge for his sister. Black Ops 2 has multiple endings, depending on your choices. Best ending: you stop Menendez, save the world, and both Woods and David survive. Worst ending: Menendez wins. Drones attack the US, and he visits Woods in a retirement home, just to gloat before burning it down. The canon ending: Menendez is captured alive and imprisoned. He rots in a cell until 2035. Black Ops 7 takes place 10 years after Black Ops 2. And guess what? Menendez is back. How? That's the big mystery of Black Ops 7's campaign. Somehow, Menendez escaped prison, or faked his death, or was broken out. The details are still being uncovered, but this time, he's not alone. There's a new threat: the Guild. This is a powerful tech conglomerate led by a woman named Emma Kagan. The Guild controls advanced AI, drone tech, and surveillance systems worldwide. Are they working with Menendez, or is this a separate threat? That's what Black Ops 7 explores. David Mason, Section, returns as the protagonist, now older and more experienced. He's joined by other operators, and the game introduces 4-player co-op campaign for the first time in Black Ops history. The story is still unfolding, but here's what we know: Menendez's revenge isn't over. The Mason family legacy continues, and the Guild might be even more dangerous than Cortus Die ever was. Black Ops 7 is essentially the conclusion of the Menendez saga that started in Black Ops 2. It's been 13 years in real life, and they're finally finishing this story. Alright, so we've covered 1961 to 2035. But there's one more timeline we need to talk about: the distant future. Black Ops 3 takes place in 2065, 30 years after Black Ops 7. And honestly, this game's story is divisive. Some people love it, some people think it's a confusing mess. But let me break it down. In 2065, soldiers are enhanced with cybernetic implants and something called DNI, direct neural interface. Basically, your brain is connected to computers and networks. You can hack systems with your mind, share thoughts with other soldiers, and download skills like you're in the Matrix. Cool concept, right? Except it goes horribly wrong. The protagonist is a Black Ops soldier who gets critically injured on a mission. They're saved by a DNI implant, but it messes with their mind. They start experiencing hallucinations and false memories. The main plot follows a rogue soldier named John Taylor, who goes absent without official leave with his team. You're sent to hunt them down. But here's the twist: Taylor isn't the villain. He discovered that the DNI technology is being used to control and manipulate soldiers. He's trying to expose the conspiracy. And then there's the real twist. The entire campaign you just played, most of it didn't actually happen. Your character died during the opening mission. Everything after that is a simulation, a dying dream as your DNI implant tries to process your death. The whole game is basically, it was all a dream. Controversial ending. Black Ops 3 is technically canon, but it's so far in the future and so disconnected from the other games, it's its own thing. Black Ops 4 didn't have a traditional campaign. Instead, it had Specialist HQ, basically tutorial missions that gave backstory to the multiplayer characters. These specialists are elite soldiers in the 2040s to 2050s timeframe. They're between Black Ops 7 and Black Ops 3 chronologically. The lore here is pretty light, but it does establish that after Menendez and the Guild, the world goes through more conflicts. Private military corporations rise to power. The specialists are products of this new era of warfare. It's not essential to the main story, but it fills in some gaps in the timeline. Alright, so that's the campaign timeline. But we're not done yet, because Black Ops has an entirely separate story running through zombie mode, and it's just as insane. Zombie mode has had multiple storylines over the years, but the two main ones are the Ether story and the Dark Ether story. Let me break both down. The zombies story starts in World at War, during World War II. A Nazi scientist named Dr. Ludwig Maxis is experimenting with a mysterious element called Element 115. This stuff can reanimate dead tissue. Maxis is working with another scientist named Edward Richthofen, but Richthofen betrays Maxis, traps him and his daughter Samantha in a teleporter, and takes over the zombie experiments. Here's where it gets weird. Samantha ends up in another dimension, the Ether. She gains godlike powers and starts controlling the zombies. She's literally the demonic voice you hear in the early zombie maps. The main characters, Richthofen, Dempsey, Nikolai, and Takeo, aka Primus, are soldiers from different countries who get caught up in this mess. They travel through time and dimensions, trying to stop Richthofen's plans and save Samantha. Over the course of Black Ops 1, 2, 3, and 4, the story gets insanely complex. Multiple timelines, alternate versions of the same character, ancient alien races, the Keepers and the Apothecons. The Ether is revealed to to be a dimension where an ancient evil lives. Richtofen becomes a zombie, then a god, then loses his powers. Samantha grows up across different timelines. In the ending of the Ether story in Black Ops 4, the cycle is finally broken. The characters sacrifice themselves to destroy the Ether and end the zombie outbreak forever. It's a bittersweet ending. They win, but they die. That story ran from 2008 to 2019. 11 years of insane, convoluted, dimension-hopping zombie lore. Now for the Dark Ether story, it happened in 2020. With Black Ops Cold War, they rebooted the zombies story. New timeline, new lore, fresh start. This time, the story is set during the Cold War era, 1980s. A secret organization called Requiem is studying dimensional rifts that are opening up around the world. These rifts lead to the Dark Ether, basically another dimension filled with zombies and monsters. The main villain is, well, actually, let me correct that. Gregory Weaver is one of the good guys. The real villain is an entity called the Forsaken, a godlike being trapped in the Dark Ether who wants to escape and conquer Earth. Over Cold War and Black Ops 6, the story follows. Requiem trying to close the rifts, a rival organization called Omega Group, Soviets, also studying the Dark Ether. The return of Samantha Maxis. Yes, the Samantha from the original story. But in this new timeline, Dr. Zhukov, a Soviet scientist who gets trapped in the Dark Ether and becomes the Forsaken. The ending of Black Ops 6 is zombies. The Forsaken is finally defeated, the Dark Ether is sealed, and the dimensional threat is over, for now. So let's wrap this up. The Black Ops series has been telling an interconnected story for over 15 years. Alex Mason's brainwashing in the 1960s set everything in motion. Russell Adler continued the CIA's shady operations in the 1980s. Raul Menendez's revenge spanned from 1986 to 2035. David Mason inherited his father's fight and is still dealing with it in Black Ops 7. The future in 2065 shows a world where technology has gone too far. What's interesting is how interconnected it all is. The same themes keep coming back. Black Ops 7 is bringing a lot of these threads together. Menendez is back for his final chapter. David Mason is closing his father's story. We're 60 plus years into this timeline, and it's still not over. Black Ops 7 is out now. The story is still being uncovered, and I'll be here to break it all down. I'm Joe. Thanks for watching.